Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Sara Sach. Welcome back to my crochet channel. I gave you a little sneak peek over there because I wanted you to see that we're going to be talking about that yarn at the beginning of the video, okay? But I'm Sara Sach. I'm feeling a lot better. I was so sick over the weekend, but we got some good meds and I'm doing much better. I know I still sound a little bit nasal, but that's okay. The headache's gone, the upset tummy's gone, most of that nonsense is gone. But I was one miserable woman, I'm telling you. And I'm usually pretty chipper even when I'm sick, but that was a rough one for me, but I'm doing a lot better. I was going to show you my grand dog today, Clarabelle. She's sitting over here on a pile of yarn, actually a pile of blankets. If I can get her to come over a little later, maybe I'll show her to you. She is just the sweetheart of a dog. I'm used to our little tiny chihuahuas that are, no more than 8 or 10 pounds. Maximo was 5 pounds, And so Clarabelle's probably about 25 or 30 pounds. She's trying to get the blanket situated. But if I can get her to come over. Clarabelle, come here. She's like, no, I'm liking my bed. So maybe a little later, she's all bedded down in there. Maybe a little bit later I can show her to you. She is a sweetheart. My granddaughter, Zoe, is her dog. And it's Zoe's birthday. She just turned 13. And her best friend and her mom and dad went to, I think it's called Great Wolf Lodge. We went to one in Colorado that was just amazing. And so what they do is instead of getting gifts at their birthdays, they get experiences. And I really love that. And so she got to take her best friend. And then they went down to Wolf Lodge. They're going to have so much fun. But they'll be back, I think, tonight. I can't remember what she told me. I got a hair on my arm. It's tickling me. Anyway, so are y'all ready to get started? Let's clink in. Clinkety, clink, clink, clink. I'm drinking my vitamin C today. Just trying to get healthy and happy. I am so used to my lazy little chihuahuas because they're old. They don't do anything other than just eat, sleep, and poo, And it's been fun having Clara here. She's a lot of fun. She's really just a sweet, sweet dog. So hopefully she's taking a nap. Maybe later on in the video I can show her to you. I'm not drinking coffee today. Well, I did earlier. But I just drank, I've got a mixture here of like a grapefruit juice, orange juice, pineapple juice sort of thing. So, anywho, I am feeling a lot better. Thank you for all of y'all that were sending up prayers for me because I'll tell you what, I was one miserable woman. All right, so I got a joke for you. We're heading into Halloween seasons. I thought I'd get you a Halloween joke. Are you ready? Now remember, I'm terrible at landing a punchline, so just laugh for me, okay? All right. What did one ghost say to the other ghost when they got all dressed up for the Halloween party? Anybody know? This is so silly. Well, one ghost said to the other ghost, "Oh my, you look bootyful." Isn't that hilarious? This is like something my granddaughter would have said, huh? I thought that was cute. Anyway, before we get a little bit farther on in our video, I want to tell you about this channel I found. It's called Frizzy Bee. It's called Frizzy Bee Colorful Kawaii Crochet. I just found her to be delightful. Thank you for all the smiley faces. I know I'm still coughing. Don't worry. It's actually a good thing because it means the chest is breaking up. Okay, don't worry about it. Anyway, I want you to go and check out Frizzy Bee Kawaii Crochet channel. Colorful Kawaii. And her channel is very colorful and bright. And when I'm looking for channels to share with you guys, I think one of the things that draws me to a channel, it's that the people that are doing the channel are real. You know, they're not trying to put on a show or acting, because I couldn't act to save my life probably. And so I like it, but I also like it when things are bright and cheerful, because that's the way I like things. I like things that are just bright and cheerful. Okay, and that's how I found this channel to be. Okay, and I had never heard of her before, and I think that's a really fun name, Frizzy Bee. Colorful Kawaii Crochet. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about is this yarn. And this is a premier yarn. It's called Gala, or Gala, however you want to pronounce it. I think of it as Gala, like a party is a gala, because it's all sparkly. And I was talking about it the other day, that you can take it and add it to any other yarn and make it sparkly. And so I was going to do a quick demo of that real quick, just so that you can get an idea of what I was talking about, because a lot of people don't understand how you can hold two strands of yarn together and crochet them without making a mess. And sometimes we do make a mess. I mean, you know, it's string. It's going to get tangled. Okay? So let's click over to our other camera here. I'm going to roll over here. Okay, so this yarn, there we go. It's a fine 2. So that means it's really thin, right? Okay, it's 95 polyester, 5% metallic polyester. Okay, and 149 yards, 1.76 ounces. And it's real important that you go by yards on this, because the amount of yards that you have of the yarn you're going to add to it will be the same as the yards on what you need. Okay, so this one is called Silver. And I know the camera's playing with it a little bit, so I'm going to try to hold it so you can see it. And see how sparkly and beautiful that is? And this one is called Gold. Okay, I'm going to kind of pull it down here a little bit so you can kind of see. And this is some really neat stuff. You can make jewelry with this. You could make necklaces, bracelets, all kinds of different types of jewelry with it, and it will be absolutely gorgeous. But the reason that I wanted to buy it is because I like to have a sparkle in my yarn. And I had so many questions asking me, how do you do that? Let me get a drink real quick. All right. So, what you do is you're just going to hold the two strands together. Okay? And you just do it exactly the same as you would if you were just holding one strand. So here I've got my slip knot. And I'm just going to do some stitches just so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so let's do some chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and so you can see how that puts a sparkle through the yarn. So I've got a lavender yarn here, and I've got some gold sparkle. And the best way to work with it when you're holding two strands is just keep pulling it out gently like this, so that you don't want one of them drooping, and you don't want one of them pulling tighter than the other, you know, and it's just practice. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn. I'm going to single crochet in that second chain from the hook, just like I would if I was doing a row. All right, so there's a single crochet. Let's do a double crochet. And it's really not any harder than regular crocheting. You just have to be a little more aware that you've got that extra strand in there, because I want you to see how pretty this looks when you add that extra strand of this particular yarn, or there's other yarns. I have some from Hobby Lobby also that I have done this with. All right, let me see if I can hold that up so you can see that. It does play with my camera lights a little bit. But see how it makes the thread run through it, and it's just beautiful. And that's all you do when you're holding the two strands together. I always put them in a bowl. I have a container that I use. And just make sure when you're stitching that you gently pull that out, make a few stitches, you know, depending on what you're making, you know. And you can use this on any weight of yarn. Goodness gracious, I don't know why I'm starting to cough all of a sudden. Probably because I'm talking. But you can add this to any weight of yarn. You can add this strand right here to super bulky or super thin. It doesn't matter. And I have found that it really doesn't even affect the way the pattern comes out. Because you could add it to cotton and make some sparkly washcloths or hot pads. Just keep in mind that this is a polyester. You don't want to put anything super hot on it. Okay? But I think it makes gorgeous shawls and wraps, as well as like sweaters and things like that. And I had gotten a lot of questions about, as I talked about adding it to yarns. And a lot of people were like, I don't understand how you do that. I had one lady ask me, can I stitch up a sweater and then add this to it? And you could maybe if you like wanted to sew it in or something, but that would be way too much trouble. Just add it like I did. Whatever you're making, make sure you get the same yardage that you need for whatever you're making, because it's the length that matters. Okay? And I think it's gorgeous. Hobby Lobby has some also. And I don't know that I've seen any other brands with them, but this is the premier one. And they had them on sale for a while, and so I got a silver and a gold. Because I thought, they also have... I am so sorry. I don't mean to be coughing. It's probably just because I'm talking. But they also have one that looks like a white with a sparkle. And I thought that would just be gorgeous with a blue to make like a snowflake sort of look thing. So, I mean, and yes, you can buy lots of yarns with the sparkle already in it. Like some of the new premier yarn that I showed you last week has a thread of sparkle already going through it. Well, if you have a bunch of yarn like I do, like even, I mean, some of these ombres and different ones, and you want to add a sparkle to it, you can get something like this and stitch it together at the same time, and you get that sparkle look. Okay? But I had questions about it, so I wanted to answer that question today. Alrighty. Now, I want to show you, I'm not going to have a real long video today, by the way, because I don't want to, cough you out of here. But, and Clarabelle's not being agreeable. She doesn't want to be on video. Let's talk about what we did this week at Posh Pooch Designs. Okay, now pattern wise, I'm going to pull these out so you can see them. And we'll click back over here. All right, now these are our fall leaf granny squares coasters. You can call them lots of different things. And remember, if you remember last week, we did the this and that, talked about how to make the cluster stitch. Is it a spike stitch or is it a long double crochet? And like we said in the video, they're the same thing. It kind of cracked me up because some people would say, oh, I like the spike stitch better than the double crochet. Or I like the long double crochet better than the spike stitch. But basically, they're the same thing. Okay? And so I think they're 4x4 inches. Is my tape measure in there? There it is. I don't have the notes on it with me, so I'm going to measure it again real quick. Yeah, it's a 4x4 square. Now, someone asked me, can I make it bigger if I want to make squares and put them together? You can. You're just going to, because the first 3 rows are your basic granny squares. And then we add this 4th row where we did our leaf cluster. You could make them bigger if you wanted to and put them together. I think it'd be really cool to sew a bunch of these together, make a headband or put them together in a bag or even, a pot holder, whatever you want to do with them. But they also make great coasters. And so it was a lot of fun. I wanted to do something simple but fun of course, for Friday Fun Day. And I really love how they turn out. Now, while we've got the camera over this direction, this is what we did yesterday. And these are our candy Halloween baskets. They're super fun, super easy to make. And you can see we changed colors every other row, and we just carried up our yarn on the inside of our basket. Now, I did check. They will fit, I don't know if you're into Tupperware, but they will fit some of the Tupperware bowls that I have. And if you wanted to make it a little sturdier, because, I mean, they're pretty sturdy, and make sure you grab your good acrylic yarn so that it is nice and sturdy. And, but they do fit some of the Tupperware bowls. And I don't buy candy anymore. I buy all these little weird toy things because kids love this stuff. These are glow in the dark. Those little googly eyes that glow in the dark. Plastic spiders. These are supposed to be little tops that you throw. But the kids have fun playing with all this kinds of stuff. And I had some other things also in that bag. Like these rubber balls. Kids love those. And they're fun. If you don't want to give out candy, we don't, just because I'm diabetic and I don't want it around the house. And plus, half the time when you give candy out and it's good stuff, the parents eat it, right? Because I'll be honest with you, I used to get in my kids' candy and get the Snickers. So. But anyway, I thought they were super fun and easy to make. Because you're just starting, switching colors every other row. And this one I wanted it to have a little bit of Beetlejuice vibe to it with the black and white and the green and purple. And then this one, it's coming off like kind of a blue on camera, but it's actually just like a light green and a kind of a lighter purple. So anyhow, I just really loved them. They're a lot of fun to make. They're super easy to make. Now, the question that I got a lot is, can I make a handle? And you certainly can. Just make a handle on it. It's a really super easy idea. You can make a handle if you want to. You can even do a drawstring and draw it up if you want. Because they were wanting to make it for their kids to carry to go trick-or-treating. The kids around here, they use pillowcases. I thought that was interesting. I don't know if nobody ever gets those plastic pumpkins anymore. I used to love them things. But around at our neighborhood, they give out the biggest stuff. I'm telling you. Down around the corner, this one guy gets his grill out and he grills hot dogs for all the kids. Okay, and then there's a house next door to him that gives chips. They just get all those little small chips, those bags. And then there's another house that's like across the street. This woman makes homemade pumpkin balls. Not pumpkin balls, popcorn balls. So they do a lot of stuff like that. And it's a lot of fun because it's a little more maybe hometowny. And it's fun. And you're gonna get huge Snicker bars and all of that stuff in this neighborhood. And so I thought I'll just give out toys. I go to Dollar Tree and Walmart and buy those big bags of just toys. And they're a lot of fun. They have like little Rubik's Cubes in them and all kinds of fun little things. It was kind of funny. Last year, they had these like kazoos in there. And the whole neighborhood kids had them. And they're like, who gave out them kazoos? It was on our HOA Facebook page. Who gave out all those kazoos? And they're like, I think the Sachs did. And then all the kids were running back to my house. I didn't have any left. So it was kind of fun. Because candy's fun to give. I mean, but it's also fun to kind of do toys and different things. And we had quite a bit of trick-or-treaters last year. When we lived in Colorado, we lived out in the country. And in the area that we lived was kind of up the side of a hill. And the houses were all like 5 to 9 acre lots. And trick-or-treaters were not going to go up there, there might have been 100 houses up there, but it would have taken them 3 days to walk it, you know what I mean? So it's kind of cool. That's true, Nancy. Pillowcases are great because they don't break or tear. Although, there was this one kid that was dragging his, and I'm telling you, he'd probably drag a hole in it. So anyhow, our neighborhood is so great about decorating too. There's a lady across the street, I probably told you about this last year. She had one of those enormous skeletons. And they had all this stuff decorated, like a cemetery and everything. And then after Halloween, she left the skeleton up and decorated it in like she put a Santa hat on it and a Santa scarf, and it was just really kind of funny, and they lit it up with lights. So, I mean, if you're going to spend the money on something, you know, get the most out of it, because those things are expensive. They also had a huge Grinch that you blow up. It was taller than their house. And they're on the back side that's faces the road, and they had it facing out towards the road. It was hilarious. And then we had a lot of wind for some reason that day, and they had to take it down for a while. But it was hilarious. I love stuff like that. Our neighborhood decorates like crazy for Christmas also. So it's a lot of fun. It's a great neighborhood. We didn't really decorate that much in Colorado for Christmas. I mean, we did some. I had a really big snowman that had a cardinal, and I gave it to our friend, and he came down to visit for my son's birthday, and he's like, yeah, that snowman didn't make it. Because it was like made of metal, and then it had like all this plastic netting and stuff. It was really cool. It's gone. But anyway, we're looking forward to, I love decorating for Christmas, and I love looking at all the lights and stuff like that. So it's kind of fun to live in a neighborhood, you know, that does a whole lot of that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, they're great at Halloween all the way through Christmas. Lots of decorations. Okay, so the this and that video was about, is it a spike stitch or a long double crochet? And I did some demos to kind of show you how you can do that. And that's why I did that one before I did this video, just to give you an idea, you know, of how to do that. This particular stitch pattern is called the leaf cluster, because you're doing your spike stitches at different places, and then you put it together at the top in a cluster. And it's really not hard. I walk you through the whole thing. If you've never done one, you'll find it's really quite easy. Okay. I was reading a comment about neighborhood decorating. I think it's fun to decorate. All right, now tomorrow on our this and that video, our question that we're asking is it a treble or a triple stitch? I should have called it the treble with the treble and triple stitches. That would have been a good title, huh? Maybe I'll go in and change that. But anyway, I get a lot of questions about trebles and triples, and so I thought I would do a little video on it. And I know I'm coughing, but I feel great. It's just my chest breaking up. The medicine's doing its work. But anyway, what I'm trying to do now with our this and that videos is to try to answer questions that I get. Because I do get a lot of questions, because think about this. You know, I've been crocheting for over 50 years. And a lot of people who are just starting in the last few years, crochet has changed a lot in all that time. And a lot of stitches have been renamed, and there's been new techniques and lots of new things. And so there's lots of questions. And so I'm trying to go through some of the questions that I get. And if you have questions that you'd like me to answer on the this and that videos, feel free to ask them in the comments section, because I do read all the comments. And, excuse me, I do read all the my nose is going to run. I do read all the comments, and I do try to answer the questions. One thing I do recommend is that if you have a question, go to my playlist that's called This and That, and just search through there. You know, you can use that little magnifying, looks like a little magnifying glass. You can use it as a search, and you can ask your question in there, and it will see if I have a video that will answer that question as well. All right. So, yeah, that's what we're trying to do with our this and that questions now. I know that, I mean, I get questions on a daily basis, and a lot of times they're questions that I've answered over and over again, but they don't know where to find them. And so that's what I'm trying to do. Because the thing is, I don't want you to be frustrated in your crochet journey. I want you to enjoy your crochet journey. I want you to have fun, and I want you to learn lots of new fun techniques. And remember, I always say this, practice in crochet and in any art, practice doesn't make perfect, because we don't want to be perfect. But practice makes confidence, because you may do something a certain way and somebody else does it a different way. It doesn't make it wrong, it just makes it different. And and I want you to love crochet. I want you to love being on this journey, because, and I've said this many times also, that crocheting is a healing journey. And a lot of times it gets us through things that, because by getting our mind off of what is pulling us down. I had many people that came to my channel during COVID because they were stuck at home. They were bored. They needed things to do. And so, yeah, there's things like that. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Sam. Couldn't find Sam. Sorry. Are you talking about Sam Jot? Just put in Sam Jot. SAMJOT. That's his shop. He's not sold out. He has a whole shop full of pins and stuff. So, go to Etsy, go to the search at the top and put in Sam Jot. SAMJOT. Or you can put in Sam Jot Pens. PENS. He has a whole bunch of stuff. So anyway, I'm going to blow my nose again. Ugh. Okay. Alrighty. So anyway, I got sidetracked on that. Bubble stitch for numbers. Yeah, I don't know how to help you find that. I don't even not sure what you're asking. Your best bet probably would be to search on YouTube. It sounds like an interesting idea, but yeah, I would probably do a search on YouTube. So anyway, I'm going to let you go on that note, because I do need to rest my voice. And I know y'all are feeling bad for me. Don't feel bad for me. I am feeling so much better. I mean, it's just, I'm going to cough because my chest is breaking up. So anyway, on that note, I'm going to let you go. And I hope that y'all have a great week. And I'll see you next week for another edition of Coffee and Crochet with Sarah. And hopefully I'll be feeling way, way much better.